How's it going, everybody? James Bean here, guitar instructor, guitarist, Allman Brothers enthusiast, and the list goes on and on. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Or today, depending on what you're doing, what you have going on. So, I put out a cover video a while back, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago, of Statesboro Blues, one of my favorite Allman Brothers tunes, the opening track on Live at Fillmore East. And it was my take, pretty much trying to emulate Dwayne. I don't, with that kind of stuff, I have such a reverence for it. It's kind of hard to escape trying to do what Dwayne was doing, and not so much trying to inject my own thing into it. But I think the shortcomings that you have in trying to emulate somebody that's what ends up being your personality as a musician. So anyway, so I did a video and I got a couple of requests to put together a quick lesson, and that's what I do. So while I won't go through the entire song right now, I just wanted to go through some key points and some things about just slide guitar in general, especially in the Dwayne Allman style, and to an extent the Warren Haynes style. Things that really make that music sound authentic, and what you can do to kind of make your part sound authentic. So for that video, I used standard tuning, and I know Dwayne used open E, and he kind of centered around the 10th fret. Growing up, I didn't have enough money for two guitars, and I didn't want to tune back to open tuning and back to standard, especially if I was gigging. I started gigging at 15, just one guitar, one amp, and so I learned all those licks in standard tuning, and while they're not, I think, 100% accurate, they're certainly in the spirit, and they kind of also allow me to kind of inject a little of my personality. And then finding out Warren Haynes was doing essentially the same thing, I was like, oh, okay, well that's my route is valid then. So let's go over this real quick. I don't want to spend too much time, but I want to hit some key points. Let's take that intro I was doing. So right now, if you think of a bar chord like a D bar chord, there's your D bar chord. So I'm centering everything around the 7th fret on the D, G, and B strings, and kind of making a box kind of between the 5th and 7th frets on those strings. So that first lick, for instance. So what I'm doing right there is just sliding up to the 7th fret. Then 7 to 5 on the G, then the 7th fret on the D string, and then. So right there, that's kind of a hallmark of the sound. And even when Dwayne was in open tuning, playing around the 10th fret, he didn't deviate a whole lot when he was at the 10th fret from the 10th and then the 8th fret, just backing it up 2 frets. So you got that going on. Now the next lick. So that one, I'm starting at 10, going 10 to 8 on the high E, and then 10 on the B. Then coming up here. So going up to the 17th fret on the high E. Then kind of doing like 13 to 14 on the high E, and then the 15 on the B. 15 to 13 on the B string, and then the 14th fret on the G, which is a little awkward to play with slide because, kind of the advantage of open tunings with slide and kind of finding notes in the same fret is you don't have to move the slide too much and be out of tune and whatever else. But it just seems to fit under my slide well, seems to fit under my fingers pretty well. So then we go back. So then the next lick we have is that same, kind of a similar lick to the very first one. So there I'm hitting the 5th fret of the high E string. And so now if you listen, it's kind of blues, but also kind of country, because they're incorporating the major third in here. Now the minor third is that one that kind of sounds a little meaner, bluesier. Major third is kind of, you hear it in blues all the time, but it almost is like kind of a joyful sound as opposed to the mean sound that the minor third had. So minor third is like. Now the major third is. So it's in the key of D, it's the difference between F and F sharp. So got that. Now, the next lick is kind of the signature Dwayne lick, which I believe is kind of meant to emulate a harmonica. Now, this is the... So what I'm doing there, I mean, if I'm not using the slide, what it ends up being is 8th fret on the B to the 11th fret on the G. So I know, like, there it sounds kind of weird, sounds kind of lame, but when you use the slide and you're sliding in and out of notes, then that's where it really makes a cool sound. So there's that. Now then it ends on a. So I'm sliding 10 to 8 on the high E, 10 to 8 on the B, then sliding in from 6 to 7 on the B string, and then landing lastly on the 7th fret of the G string. So that's the intro, and so much of what I just played is used to varying degrees throughout the entire song. So, like I said before, while I'm not going to hit every little lick, I'm going to hit some key points, and then we can kind of pick up maybe at another time. But then, you know, even the wake up mama, turn your lamp down low. See, that same thing, all 7th to 5th fret, and, you know, so, oh, there's the lick in the second line, the woke up this morning, had them Statesboro. So what's going on there is I'm doing I don't know if it's 100% like Dwayne did, but it seems like it. So going chromatically on the 7th fret of the G and the B string. You know, I would probably, in the 10th fret, slide that to 11 on the G string. Now that's the same lick as earlier. Now we slide from 10 to 11 on the G. You know, that kind of almost sounds like a country lick. And so let's go ahead and move on to the solo here. So the solo, a lot of the same stuff. Now we're going to go ahead and fast forward to the second part of the solo because I feel like that's really where it differs from what we've done so far. So especially that second half when he's going... So I mean, everything I said before about, you know, notes and kind of where going from major third to minor third and everything, that still accounts up here. Now the only difference being that the frets are so darn close together that you really got to be careful with that slide. So I want to, just while I'm thinking about it, mention the right hand. I mean, the right hand to me is kind of the secret weapon of slide, you know, and I just like Dwayne, Derek Trucks, Warren Haynes, almost everybody uses just their bare fingers for this. And I just feel like, especially if you're trying to get that sound like those players, what it adds, I mean, besides the fact that you can use your hand to mute any string that you're not playing, you can also use your index finger and your thumb to kind of dig. Like, you know, what everybody loves about Albert King's tone is being able to use the thumb and kind of like snap the string underneath. You know, the string is snapping against that last fret. So when you're playing a lick like... What we're doing is we're almost doing like what Albert King did, or what almost like a bass player does, like, you know, popping and such. Like grabbing under the string either with the index finger or the thumb and letting it pop. So, like there, now let's go over the signature Dwayne lick in the next octave. So we got... So that's really where you got to be careful, because you're going from basically the 22nd fret of the B string to the 23rd, imaginary 23rd fret of the G string, and then going back to the 20th fret can't even make a sound unless you have the slide. Ooh, yikes. Like I said, so long as you're kind of being able to eyeball where the slide is and what fret it's over, you're going to be fine. Sliding into notes helps a lot too. It's kind of like for those who sing, a lot of the time we swoop into notes, and that's very helpful because it allows our ear to kind of tune it on the fly. So that's awesome. So that's kind of about it. As far as like any of the key points, everything else is just kind of the note specifics, but I feel like that's very, that's a lot of it, if not all of it. So I'm more than happy. I give lessons on Zoom. I give lessons virtually and in person, but virtually more so these days. If you'd like to explore this more, hit me up, send me a message, wherever you want. Find me on Instagram at James on Guitar. Find me on Venmo. If you like this and you want to support me, this is what I do for a living. Find me on Venmo at James on Guitar. If you can donate anything, I know times are hard for everybody right now, but I would surely appreciate it. So, like I said, find me at James on Guitar on Twitter and Instagram, and then on Venmo as well. My lesson studio, Central Iowa Music Lab. Check that out. And I hope to be cranking out more videos soon. So stay tuned. Please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Happy playing.